Welcome to the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show, a broadcast service of globalbusinessnews.net.
Now, here's your host, Ed Cohen.
This is Ed in San Diego, and you're back on Global TV Talk Show. Globalbusinessnews.net moves on into the new year, and one of our first guests is one of our original guests from I want to say last century, but I shouldn't. So Philip Berry, welcome Philip Berry again.
Hi,
President
Ed.
of Philip Berry Associates.
How are you? How's it going?
That's great. Well, Happy New
Good
Year.
to be with you. Yes, Happy New Year.
So the focus of your organization has been, of course, amongst other things, helping executives and organizations upskill, reskill, transition into a higher effectiveness with the Great Resignation and BS connected with that phrase. What's it all about?
Well, I think what I believe in is that, especially in these times, is that if organizations are going to improve, then it means that the executives have to approach it with a different mindset and set of behaviors. And it's more than just what they're thinking and what they're talking about. It's more, they have to go beyond the rhetoric to be able to understand what are the behaviors that they are exhibiting right now and what can they do differently in order to engage people and therefore engage the organization to be more effective and impactful. I mean, so that it covers a number of different areas, right? From the standpoint of looking at all of the external influences that organizations are involved in right now, the challenges that they have, and then how do executives step up to the plate in order to meet that challenge. So those are some of the things that I like to get involved with.
So let's just drill down for a second here. It is January, what is today? Today is the 12th, right? It's already half over. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I really think the world is spinning a little faster than it did last year. And it's causing time to move quicker. What do you think of that? So,
I think as we approach the sunset of our lives, then I think that we have a way of looking at how time moves forward.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to talk faster. So
right.
So
we've been in this pandemic, though.
3 years. Yes.
Yeah, this is like 3 years. We thought maybe it would be 1 year and then 2 years, and now here we are again, seeing this vaccine morphing into something else.
I don't know. My hair is turning white from all this.
Yeah. Yes.
So, so the behavior thing that you just touched on, if people are going to go back to the office, it should be a rule, right? That if people are up walking around, they should wear a mask. But if they're in a meeting, it's not required, right? Well, as long as they're vaccinated.
Yeah, and as long as they can socially distance from each other, in the office, and also as long as the ventilation systems, there need to be new ventilation systems in offices, so that way they can have appropriate circulation there.
That's it. Clean and safe, right?
Yes, I think it's a combination of all of those things, really.
Yeah, boy, that's it. So the HVAC business is really going to take off in places like New York, never mind everywhere else.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what do you think with the decrease in usage of office space, meaning high-rise office space, and combined with the reshoring? I'm just brainstorming with you here for a second. The reshoring of manufacturing, maybe they could be putting manufacturing into some of these skyscrapers on some floors, and then other floors have reduced hoteling space for office meetings rather than cubicles.
Yes.
I don't know what I'm talking about, but what do you think
No,
of that?
no, I think that, no, what you're on to is that the like I look at Manhattan, and so there are a number of companies there and organizations that are now working remotely. And in fact, if you talk about just to layer that with the remote work piece, 3 years ago, if you were going for a job, 1 out of every 67 jobs was remote. Now, 1 out of every 7 jobs
Whoa.
is 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 remote.
Yeah.
And so what that means is that we have to have flex place. Individuals have to be able to reimagine, where does the work occur? And it doesn't occur in these office buildings. It occurs in the interspace between individuals, and individuals working on through Zoom and through the internet, and all of that. And in fact, for the last 20 years or so, I've worked globally. And I've always found that in order to be more impactful, if I'm working with individuals in Turkey or in Chile, or in Paris, I'm working with teams of individuals who are remote. They're working in different places, and I have to be able to work with them differently. So people who have been able to master the ability to work with individuals across the globe know what this is about. The individuals who have not had that experience are now beginning to relearn how they work with others in different places. And to the point that you were talking about, from a governmental and municipal standpoint, the people are going to have to reimagine the use of offices that where there were a lot of people working in those offices, in those buildings. And so they have to think of what are some new uses for those, and whether it's doing some type of modal manufacturing, doing something with housing, even for people places need, what do we do with the homeless? Yeah, what about hotels? So there are a number of flex place options that are required. Maybe what we do is we change. My son is living in Miami, and in his building, his parking spot is on the 12th floor of this building. So he lives in this building in the Bricknell area. And so they have reimagined a lot of the living and working spaces there. So he has a condo there. He'll get into an elevator instead of going down, because especially with all of this sewage and flooding that's in Miami, he winds up going up a few more floors to his car in order to get that. So it's another building right beside the building where he's living. Reimagining buildings is a key piece, and that's what you're bringing up here.
This is fascinating, isn't it? Boy, that's so creative.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Brickell area I'm very familiar with. We used to hold our meetings there a lot back in the day. Someday
Right.
maybe we'll do it again.
Yeah.
So the behavior thing. So this relates to a shift younger. Everybody in the workforce is younger than me, and that's okay. That's what it is. But how much younger? So the behaviors of people who were there as managers, as bosses, all right, on a floor, let's say a floor of cubicles and glass, window facing glass, then executive offices, if you will, with everybody else in the middle and whatever. Is that a thing of the past?
Matter of fact, no, it's not. And what's happening is that now we are at a point where there are 5 generations in the workplace. Yeah, and so you start with Gen Z. Like you and I were, in the baby boomer generation. but then you have Gen X, Gen Y, and Gen Z. I mean, all of these different age groups. And what's the challenge that we have in organizations is that when we look at a number of people who are leaving the workplace right now, there are a number of people who are in the latter years of the sunset of their life who are deciding to retire. So most of the people who are leaving organizations right now are individuals who are more senior, retiring, and a lot of the younger people who are deciding that they want a different job proposition. They don't want to go back to that same old job. And so from the standpoint of thinking and behavior, organizations have to re-attract people by reimagining the work. And so we can't bring people back to the old Frederick Taylor school of thinking where they are sitting there in an office right next to each other in a cubicle. They're not going to be working like that. They want to work from home. They want flex time. I remember how difficult it was for organizations to actually think about flex time and have policies in place around remote work.
It
Now,
wasn't that long ago.
yeah, well,
5 years,
now,
6 years.
yeah, exactly. Just 5 or 6 years ago, organizations were saying no. Now they have to do it. So they're being forced into a new future in order to be effective and impactful. So with the brain drain, so we have people who can work in a very different way. So instead of individuals being a part of the organization, you have individuals who have a lot of experience, like yourself, who are saying, and like me, who are saying, well, I don't want to be attached to any one organization anymore. I've done that. I've been there. I've done that. I've spent 30 some years in organizations. However, I still want to be busy and active, and I would like to support organizations. So I want flex time also. And people think that flex time is only something that younger people want. I want that also. I want to be able to work in different ways. I want to be able to continue learning and continue growing. That used to be when we looked at Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There's a mistake thinking that only young people want that. Well, a lot of older people want that also because they're more seasoned and they want to be able to have diversity in where they work and the type of work and who they work with. And I mean, like right now, I'm in Florida. So I have a place in Florida and a place in New York. I don't want to just be stuck, quote unquote, in one area. I want to have flexibility to work anywhere around the world.
Yeah, like for instance, Joanne and I are going to take a side trip this weekend. We're going over to Scottsdale, which is a 6-hour drive, and we're going to live and work from there for a few days, and then come back here to San Diego. So I could work from anywhere and have been doing it for a long time, just like you.
Exactly. Yeah. And my son, he's a venture capitalist. So he worked in organizations for a while. However, now, so he has 2 kids. We have 2 grandkids with him as a result. And him and his wife, have decided that they want to work, they want to be able to support their family, but they like to be able to do it from anywhere. They want to travel. And also what he'd like to do is to go out with the kids in the morning to the gym or to the pool, and then he'll come back on and then he'll make some money. He'll raise some funds. He'll invest in some projects, he's working on sustainability issues. And that's his lifestyle. And matter of fact, he will be working not 9 to 5. He's going to be working 9 to 9. Matter of fact, probably from 6 or 7 to 9 o'clock at night. But he'll be working differently, and and his wife will also, and that will make them more motivated to contribute and to organizations.
Yeah, just figuring that out. Yeah, so what we've been doing here in San Diego, Joanne and I, is that I'm up early, 5, 6 a.m. typically, sometimes earlier, and work straight through to around noontime or 12:30. Then we go out, we leave the place, go out somewhere, go to the beach, and go to a restaurant, and then go for a walk along the water, do some shopping, back in at 3:30. Then I got to work till about 6. and then take a break. Then about 9 o'clock at night, I look at the screen again for an hour and get things ready or wrap things up.
It's a new way of living. And instead of individuals feeling, well, I have to be 9 to 5, and then that's when work occurs, and that's when I do it. I can build in and intersperse the relaxation and rest and mindfulness throughout my day. When I lived in Paris, when I was vice president of human resources over Colgate Europe, I really learned a lot from the Europeans and from the French in terms of how do you really live, and how can you really enjoy life? I mean, and you intersperse it, with other things throughout activities in your day that really provide enrichment and relaxation and also fulfillment. And that's how, and that really is something I believe that many of the European countries have mastered very, very,
So,
very
yeah,
well.
let's talk about that. So, what I remember in Paris, and you have much more extensive experience than me there, but I've been in and out a lot of times. They really get into lunch. I mean, they have a good time. I mean,
Yeah,
sure, it's business, but boy, they just enjoy it. And then they'd work to about 8 o'clock at night or so, right?
that's exactly right. Well, you start the day and you eat like a pauper, and then at lunchtime you eat like a king or a queen, and then you eat a smaller lunch or whatever, a dinner, towards the end of the day with a little aperitif, in order to provide balance in your life. But it's important to find things that you kind of enjoy, to enjoy the company of people, and there's a lot of work. People work differently, so, and in fact, even as a consultant, I find that when people say, well, how do you connect with people? How do you meet with people? Well, I'm very involved in social media with people, but I find other ways to connect with people so that way I can interface and learn, and enjoy and contribute. So it's a whole different way of interacting.
So, with the impact of the pandemic lingering on and causing all these new uh, and perhaps needed changes in the workforce management, um, so the idea is leadership, not management, right? You manage things, but you lead people, right? But what,
Right.
in your view? I mean, you could say it a lot better than me. I'm just
No,
talking about words, but you live in it.
yes. I think what you said is well said. But people don't want to be managed, which they can also say manipulated, told what to do. They want to be inspired. Leadership inspires people, points out a direction, and then helps individuals to grow towards that. It identifies a mission, which is important, which will help to fulfill the vision and strategy of the organization, and gets people motivated so that they also can see the organization's mission as their mission. And so that's why individuals are now saying to themselves, well, I'll go and I'll work for a company, but I want to work for a company that it has involves that is associated with something that's important to me, in terms of dealing with health issues and dealing with climate, to improve the environment,
Right.
to help with increasing relationships and understanding diverse points of view, and also people of different backgrounds. And so I'd like to be able to have that diversity in organizations, because it's also part of what I feel makes me a better individual. And therefore, I will work with organizations and institutions that embody, and enable me to grow and flourish in that particular manner. And that's not something that's new. People have always had this desire. In fact, I have always, my whole career, I have sorted out to say that there are certain companies that I will not work for because they don't embody my vision and what my values are, and other organizations that I would work for. People, I always decide who will I work for and who will I not work for, because it encompasses that. A number of people are being braver around making steps to go to those organizations and leaving organizations where it's not happening for them. And that's why we're seeing people rethinking their lives. With this pandemic is causing people to rethink their life. Ed, yeah, I mean, they're rethinking. I mean, there's a frailty that people have when you see that a number of people around you, are dying and can die. They're not going to be here for a while. Well, then you wind up thinking, well, what am I doing while I'm here? And how do I make this life meaningful while I'm here? And where can I go in order to make that happen? How can I have a family situation that will be more enriching to me? How can I enjoy my family as opposed to the workplace is the boss is my is my family only.
Yeah. So I saw on your website earlier today a quote, something, I'm not going to say it right, but one regret is that I didn't do things bigger, bolder, faster.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to comment on that in relation
No,
to what we're saying right now?
I think that you have the quote right, and that is that what we don't want to do in our life is to, when we get towards the sunset, to have regrets. We should want to live with a satisfaction that we took the chances that were important, that we made the decisions that helped us out, that we were not afraid to take a risk because we felt, well, if I take this risk, it's going to hold me back. And some people are getting to a point where they're regretting. You don't want to live that type of a lifestyle.
So the bosses of tomorrow, maybe today, later today, will say, we'll ask, say somebody who's 30, 35, what would you like to see me as a boss do for you? Or, be a coach, not a manager.
Yeah, people want coaches. A leader should be not only a person who is just telling you what to do, but who is able to point out a vision, a tapestry, I would say, to paint a picture of here's the world, and these are some of the things that you can do, and let me help you so that way you're able to do that. My best bosses have been individuals who were able to inspire me to be a better version of myself and to go places where I had not been before. I've worked in over 60 countries around the world. I didn't grow up in a family situation that gave me that type of background to really understand that. However, I had a number of bosses who were able to point the way to me. I had people who were teachers who enabled me to learn different languages and not to be afraid of that. And that's how people get inspired. They give them the wherewithal to grow in ways that they would never have imagined. I mean, that's what life is about, really. Life is not about just making the money. It's about doing all of those things. So that way, no matter how much you have in your pocket, you can say that it enabled you to do some things better for yourself, for your family, for your community, and hopefully also for the world, wherever your world might be, however you define it, whether it's a city or it's a state, whether it happens to be life with the living situation of people who are living in other countries. How can you help those?
We are pleased to welcome Adamo Education as a proud sponsor of Global TV Talk Show.
The concept of a microschool is the reimagining of the one-room schoolhouse. My name is Tamara Becker. I'm the president and CEO of Adamo Education. The microschool concept really does not just lend itself to the personalization and the customization of learning, but also the social development and fostering that sense of love for learning. Unlike what we see in traditional brick and mortar schools, we have multiple grade levels in the same learning space. Students can be enriched by the socialization that they get, as well as the academic support from peers. What differentiates Adamo is the fact that we are taking the best pieces of brick and mortar, of digital, and then at-home learning. Students here can come 5 days a week. They can come 4 hours a day. It will really just depend on what is best for the student and for the parent. To enroll, just reach out via phone, text, or email, and we'll have that personalized conversation, and we'll be able to get you all set. Check us out at adamoeducation.org.
Hi, this is Ed, and I thank you for tuning in to Global TV Talk Show, a unit on globalbusinessnews.net. We broadcast to the world, as you know by now. So I wanted to make sure that you understand that our programs are advertising supported. We're grateful for co-sponsors, advertisers. They have a marketing budget coupled with a strong desire to be associated with our top quality program. And of course, I'm grateful. Thank you. So for the next few minutes, you're going to see some commercials. It's mostly very low key, and our prices are very, very reasonable. Our exposure for the advertisers go 12 months and beyond. Some of our advertisers have been with us since March, April of 2020. And Google Analytics has tracked over 125,000 what they call audience page views, which means you looking at this page, that's a page view. Now, if you happen to go to one of our other shows or to our radio broadcasts or to our newspaper or magazine, those become additional page views as measured by Google Analytics. And so when they say 125,000 since spring of 2020 up through Labor Day, a month ago, that's pretty good numbers. And the past 30 days, Google Analytics has measured just under 6,000 audience page views. And that, according to them, is a 42% increase in audience participation over the month of August. So thank you very much. Well, here's our advertisers, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes or so, and we'll proceed with this interesting conversation. Thank you.
This episode from the meeting room of Global TV Talk Show is brought to you by
The Bridge School, the accredited international online private school of choice, at bridgek12.org.
Porch Light Rental and Destination Services. Reduce your renter lump sum or managed relocation costs. Visit them at porchlightrental.com.
And by airs.com. With our full range of services, we can help design and manage your international relocation. Find us at airs.com.
Primestone Partners, featuring corporate, government, and developer housing solutions, as well as senior-level advisory services. Find them at primestonepartners.com.
And by International Auto Source. We are the vehicle experts for expats, featuring all major brands of automobiles with flexible solutions and financing. On the web at intlauto.com.
Become a global player in your field.
Cross Culture to Go provides virtual support for your global business and career success.
We can help you thrive in 140 plus countries and markets.
On the web at crossculturetogo.com.
Something that's really neat is that the Bridge School partners with various organizations to provide learning for their students. For example, we partner with a major ballet company, and we are able to enroll several of their students into our school. So now not only is the student able to participate in a school and have a seamless transition while they're very active in their ballet career, but now they have other dancers that are with them that are doing some of the same courses. So it's almost becoming a camaraderie where they're taking similar courses, they're working together on their ballet, and really being able to form this great partnership with these organizations to provide a needed service. A lot of times there are student athletes who will spend hours and hours at the gym or at the basketball courts, wherever it is. And if they're attending a traditional school, they're in school from 8 to 3. They get a quick snack, and then they're at the gym for 3 to 4 hours in the evening. Coming to us and having that partnership, they're able to break that up throughout the day. They can have a morning practice, get some schooling in, have an afternoon practice, finish their schooling in the evening. So there's that flexibility. And additionally, if there are tournaments or performances, it's fantastic because if there's a week where they have shows straight through, they can take that week off of learning and then pick back up when they're done. So it offers this great flexibility. And for the program owners of these sports leagues, it is a win-win situation for them because they see this need. They see this need that their students need to make sure that they are obtaining the grades necessary to be successful adults in our country and in other countries. But it provides them an environment where they can be successful at both.
Hi, I'm Sergey Gorbatov.
I'm Angela Lane.
Together we're researchers, writers and practitioners in the field of human resources.
And we've also been multi-country, multi-assignment career expats.
We owe our professional development and growth to a very large extent to the international assignment opportunities that we have had.
But in a world where distributed work may become the norm, we also want to understand what happened to the nature, duration, and purpose of international assignments.
Together with our colleague, Julian Dalzell from the University of South Carolina, we're undertaking a study on the future of expatriation.
And we'd value your contribution. You can participate in this important study by completing a simple 10-minute questionnaire.
Access the questionnaire by typing in your browser tinyurl.com/expert study. That's tinyurl.com/expert study. You can also find the link here on Ed's website next to this video.
Thank you for joining us in this study. In return for your contribution, we'll provide you with a copy of our research.
And of course, you'll be invited to an exclusive webinar hosted by Ed, where we will share our findings right here on Global Business News.
And so please go to tinyurl.com/expat study. Take the survey so that we can better understand the future of expatriation.
Well, this is really good conversation. So I know that you've had extensive experience in social work. I use that phrase loosely here, meaning that your involvement with the City University system in New York at the very senior top levels, and in another life with the Clinton organization, the foundation. These are managing two different kinds of situations and, requiring whole different skill sets, I would imagine. But getting back to the youth, the college students, or those going into college, maybe high school juniors or seniors, to get them earlier and capture their minds before they get to college. That's the future, isn't it? I mean, always has been, but much more now than ever.
It really is. I had I still have a mentor, an individual who said that she always found that she learned a lot, not only from people who were older than her, but also people who were younger than her. And because the people who were younger than her were able to provide insights that she wouldn't have thought about. They were able to have a lot of ease in how they addressed certain situations. And that inspired her to want to go back and do some things differently. That's why I stay very attached to every new generation of the iPhone, because I always I get a new iPhone and then I learn something about it. And I go to a younger person and I say, teach me some of these new functionalities and modalities here. I mean, I went to a student. The way I got on Facebook was that I went to a student and I said, look, I'm not on Facebook. I'm afraid of this. Show me what I can do differently with this particular medium. And so that's how I learned a lot. So I'm always, so I think that students can really help you, to be open to the world as they are seeing it, is going to be magnificent. I am right now beginning to learn. I won't take a lot of time with this, but I'm learning from my 2-year-old granddaughter. And I'm using her, I am cultivating her as my next teacher. And I'm saying, what is it that I can learn from her that I don't know right now? So to be continued with this in 5 years from now, I'd like to have a conversation so I could talk about my learnings there.
No, that's cool. So is she already working the thumbs and learning how to do that?
Yes, she was able, not only that, I mean, at 2 years old, I give her my iPhone and then she goes into it, she presses this, she presses that and everything like that. How does she know all of this? Somehow she's a digital native. I'm still a digital immigrant. I'm new to all of this stuff. I'm learning from her. And so
I don't know. When I was young, I don't even remember anything past 6 or 7 even, but I remember spending a lot of time in front of the TV watching cowboys and Indians shoot each other. and the guy who played Dobie Gillis just passed. I used to love that show and just watch all that stuff with cool Bob Denver. And so I mean this. With the talent and the portrayal of these images is what I've learned. And so here I am at this ripe age, learning to be a TV talk show. And I'm remembering those enjoyments. I really enjoyed that stuff. And so I'm trying to recapture the old energy and applying it to this. And look, we've produced over 300 broadcasts and it's like not work. It is, but it's not.
Find a 2-year-old. My 2-year-old already she knows she has an iPad. She knows how to go exactly to the program that she wants on the iPad. She's able to get into iTunes. She said, press this, press that. And even where she can't say it, she points to it and she's on it. I'm learning. I'm learning.
Okay, so now let's transfer this to some guy. Okay, let's just say it's a guy, a little punchy, used to wear a tie but no jacket. It comes out of the corner office, and of course now he sees empty desks. But so who's he managing? But I mean, this person that person can't learn new tricks, can they?
They can if they have. I think learning has to do with the state of curiosity. It starts with being, matter of fact, Steve Jobs said, one of his statements, which I really love, be young, be foolish, and be curious. And it's something that I think that we have to continue to be curious about things and curious about people. And I found that as an attribute in working globally. When I went to different countries that I hadn't been before, so I'm going to Russia, I'm going to Czech Republic, I'm going over to Chile, I'm going to Brazil, places that I've never been, didn't see anything on TV about them, but I was open to learning and stepping outside of myself. So there's the psychological mindset that those executives need to have in terms of being able to step out of your world and your way of looking at things, and being able to listen, not just communicate with people and talk, but to listen and to take in the world around you. It's like slowing the process down a little bit, so that way you can understand what consumer needs are, how individuals can develop a new manufacturing process, what are some new type of either shampoos, or what type of new inventions, how can I develop a better quote unquote box to hold toilet paper or something like that. Like being open to the habits and responsibilities and what's going on around the world is what helps you to be a better executive. That I have seen that is important, even from the standpoint of developing new modalities. You can't innovate without having that type of open perspective.
So interesting. And I, once again, we've known each other a long time. This is for the benefit of the audience. So I've been a Colgate toothpaste user since before I knew you, and especially after. But I've always used the tube or the squeeze thing, total or white finish or whatever. Never thought much about it. And then I was in the CVS store about a month ago, and I saw this new display, Colgate, same old colors, red and white, with shiny silver around it. And there's this new gum toothpaste, helps gums or something. And it was like $12 instead of $2.
Inflation.
I bought it, right? So Joanne was looking at me and said, "Are you crazy? What are you doing?" And so I said, "No, well, I love Colgate, but I've got some gum issues developing, and I've got to do something about it." So I started using this stuff. I don't know what's in it. It tastes good, but my gums, my mouth has been feeling much cleaner, better. I don't have any side effects. Still do the floss, still do the electric buzzer thing, but this, I'm an early adopter, I guess. But why would I increase my costs 6 times on instinct? It was because I just trusted. Right.
But not only that, you're being smart, because you're saying, if I can cut my cost, if I'm investing in my teeth at this point,
reduce my pain.
Exactly. It's going to reduce my dental costs later on down the line when I have to look at replacing my teeth or something like that. Matter of fact, having good dental care, all the things you're talking about, in terms of flossing, electric work, brushing it 3 times a day, preferably. You're right. and flossing, and I mean, those are things that equal great oral care. And also, do you know that by being able to do things like that, you're able to reduce the bacteria that go into your body, and therefore reduce the spread of antibacterials that can cause heart disease? I mean, and any doctor will tell you that that's the case. So what you're doing is that you are investing, you're doing an early investment, not just in my stock, but but in your own healthcare.
It's payback time. Yeah, I mean, you guys bought advertising on the back cover of my magazine for years, so now it's payback time.
Right.
Thank you. So as we come to a close here, and I don't really want to close this, but I'm afraid the audience may have other things to do today. But 3 or 4 or 5 things that the effective leader today, this is impromptu. I know we didn't rehearse this, but
No, it's okay.
Can you just sum up and take us forward into another level of thinking?
I think that the 3 things that are so important, is being able to re-look at the situation that we're in and understand how I can reestablish a new vision that is going to involve people in a very different way. And then what I need to do is I have to motivate people. I have to involve people. I have to be more inclusive is the second piece. I have to communicate differently than I'm doing right now. And then the third thing is just reimagining my whole way of working, where I'm working, how I'm working, what work is, and how I can be more impactful. And every day I look at how I can try to be more impactful than I was the day before. So it's like a constant process of evaluating oneself. So I think that those are three things that I think are important.
So it's Philip Berry. Check him out on LinkedIn. And what's your website? You want to announce that?
Yeah, Philip Berry Associates, https://www.philipberryassociates.com.
Okay, well, thank you very much for being on Global TV again.
Okay, good. Thank you
back.
so much. I've enjoyed it, as I usually enjoy these conversations with you.
And I learn something every time.
Yeah, me too, in fact. Your questions cause me to rethink and relearn about some things.
Well, I'm listening, and so I don't know. I've had only one cup of coffee, so
have another.
Take care.
Regards to the family for the new year. You take care.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us in the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show.
Have a wonderful day, and stay safe.